What's up everybody, I am Mike and today I will show you how to paint the Courier from Fallout New Vegas. I sculpted this figure myself, but if you happen to own Fallout action figures or just want to learn how to paint leather armor, this will work too. I already applied a black base coat, and if you want to learn more about base coats, I have also uploaded a couple other tutorials. White acrylics and black pastel chalk will give you a nice dark gray. Adding a little bit of red acrylics and brown pastel chalk will create a much more leather-like color, and after testing it on a paper towel we can paint the entire body with that. A lot more yellow and red will give us a nice shade of brown. Paper towels are great for trying your coat of paint and seeing what it looks like. And in order to dry brush, you have to get rid of all the excess paint on your brush. You can easily tell if there is just enough paint on your brush by looking at the towel and seeing that only the raised areas have been painted. Next up, we can use black pastel chalk and silver metal paint mixed together with some water to paint the knees and the belt buckle. Mixing white acrylics with black pastel chalk will also give you a dark gray, and dry brushing with that will give the armor a leather-like look. In between, I like to add some brown pastel chalk to vary the paint some more and add more detail. After a couple of layers, it's time to add more yellow and red and a little bit of black to paint all the brown parts of the body. Next up, we can use a much smaller brush and a much brighter shade of brown to carefully add highlights to the armor and belt. If you are careful enough, you can also slightly try dry brushing with a small brush, but I recommend being extra careful because smaller brushes are usually much more flimsy. If you look closely, you might even notice that this brush used to be completely black, but has been cleaned so many times that the paint on the brush itself is starting to come off. In my Spider-Man tutorial I go into more detail about cleaning your brushes, but I generally recommend using watered down nail polish remover. I mostly use separate brushes for mixing and for painting, and before you try nail polish remover, you might have to water it down or else you might risk melting your brush. With a smaller brush and a brighter coat of paint we can then add highlights to the Courier. After a couple of layers of acrylics and adding smaller details, you should have something you're happy with. I have uploaded a couple more tutorials that go deeper into how to add details with smaller brushes and acrylics. And for now I want to show you how to add shading and details with pastel chalk. Acrylics can be used to paint brighter and darker shades, but pastel chalk generally only makes your figure darker, and once you apply a purity seal, your paint will also most likely become a little darker. I have already scratched down a couple of red, brown and flesh colored shades of pastel chalk, And I also applied a bright skin colored base coat on the Courier's arm and neck. Pastel Chalk is great for adding more detail on your doll, and it also creates a much more homogeneous look. If you haven't seen my Spider-Man tutorial, I recommend watching that because I go into more detail about Pastel Chalk. But basically, before and after you paint with Pastel Chalk, you need to apply a coat of protective seal. Once the upper body has been painted and sealed, we can do the same on the legs. I always paint the upper and lower body separately. If you happen to touch your figure, you will leave indentations of your fingerprint, which makes it harder for the Pastel Chalk to stick to the surface. Naturally, the gloves need to be painted as well, first with acrylics and then with a couple of different shades of Pastel Chalk. And once they are done, a layer of protective seal will make sure that no paint comes off. Finally, I always recommend placing your doll on a piece of paper towel like this to see if the purity seal did its job, and as you can tell, there is no paint residue. Thanks for watching, and if you want to see a full video of the Courier, you can click the annotation. I've also uploaded a tutorial for painting the head sculpt and female faces in general, and if you want to learn how to sculpt and paint a removable Pip-Boy, there is another video specifically for that. I hope you enjoyed this, like and subscribe if you do, comment down below what you wanna see me do next or what I should improve. I'll be back soon with another video. Remember to check out my site, the link is down below. You'll also find tons of images and links for DeviantArt, FigureRealm and ArtStation. And my shop on Etsy, if you ever feel like getting a unique and fun gift idea for a friend. Thank you again for tuning in, and remember as always, it's just painted plastic.